Welcome to the Workers' Reading Room. Today I'm continuing with American Trade Unionism, written by William Z. Foster. This is Chapter 4, The Basis of American Syndicalism. The American labor movement has been long and deeply afflicted with this anti-political syndicalism, very much more in fact than either Germany or England, comparable industrial countries. Beginnings of syndicalism were already to be seen in the Great 8-Hour Movement of 1886, with its general strike theories and anti-parliamentarism. Many of the dual industrial unions of the next 20 years displayed similar tendencies to exalt economic action and to play down political action. But the syndicalist tendency received its fullest expression in the Organization of the Industrial Workers of the World, set up in 1905. A few years later came a lesser organization, the Syndicalist League of North America. The long-continued hostility of the old trade unions to working-class political action was a product of the basic forces that produced the general syndicalist trend. The syndicalist tendency also showed itself very strongly in the left wing of the socialist movement by trends towards anti-parliamentarism, glorification of the daily role of labor unionism, whittling down the role of the party, theories of a trade union state after capitalism is overthrown, etc. The Socialist Labor Party and the left wing of the Socialist Party collaborated in founding the Syndicalist IWW. The three outstanding revolutionary leaders of the period displayed strong syndicalist characteristics. Daniel De Leon was the theoretical father of American syndicalism. Eugene V. Debs shared many of De Leon's syndicalist illusions, and William D. Haywood became an outright syndicalist. A striking illustration of the power of syndicalist tendencies in the Socialist Party was the fact that in the split of 1909, most of those leaving the party joined the IWW, and this was equally true of the far longer National Socialist Party split of 1912. In the big 1919 Socialist Party split that gave birth to the Communist movement, the left wing was still afflicted with syndicalist tendencies, and if it did not degenerate into outright syndicalism, it was because of the presence of corrective influences which I shall consider shortly. The persistent and widespread syndicalist tendency had its roots in the basic American conditions, in a whole series of economic, political, and social factors operating over a long period, European syndicalist influences being only a minor cause of it. These many American factors, by hindering the growth of class consciousness and checking the development of independent working-class political organization and activity, tended to restrict the struggle of the workers to the economic field, and thereby to create the objective conditions favorable to the development of syndicalism. There was, first, the more favorable economic situation which checked the class consciousness of the American masses. This was evidenced by such deterrent factors as the existence of plentiful government-free land during several generations, the traditionally higher wage and living standards, the development of a very large and conservative labor aristocracy and corrupt trade union bureaucracy, the passage of large numbers of workers into the ranks of the petty bourgeoisie, and many even into the big bourgeoisie during the long period of rapid industrial expansion, etc. These many economic factors tended powerfully to blur class lines, to create bourgeois property illusions among the workers, to stifle the class struggles of the masses, and to predispose them to syndicalism. Then there must be added the widespread bourgeois democratic illusions among the masses, set up by the fact that the American bourgeois revolution accorded the workers a relatively high degree of formal democratic rights of free speech, free press, free assembly, the right to organize and strike, the right to be elected to any office, the fiction of legalized social equality, etc. These rights had been won by the workers many years before, and no longer provided the cause for acute political struggle. Thus, the American workers, unlike those of Germany, Austria, Old Russia, etc., were not aware of burning immediate political grievances sufficient to serve as the basis for a mass political party. The grievances that the workers had, and they were many and urgent, loomed up to them chiefly as economic, questions of wages, hours, working conditions, etc. In the given historical situation, this is why the American workers have made their fight mainly on the economic field, why they were unable to build a mass socialist or labor party, and it formed an important basis for syndicalism. A number of other important factors also tended to check the American workers' political activity as a class and to encourage syndicalism. The decentralized character of the American government, which scattered the political efforts of the workers, the presence of great masses of disfranchised immigrants and floating workers interested chiefly only in economic questions, and subject to strong non-political and anti-political moods. The heterogeneous character of the working class, many nations, religions, traditions, etc., which made class solidarity difficult, the notoriously corrupt American politics which disgusted many workers with political action generally, the ultra-reactionary regime in the AFL which repelled revolutionary workers from the old unions, and last but not least, the petty bourgeois control and reformist policies of the Socialist Party which drove many workers, myself included, out of the party and into syndicalism, as we have seen in the splits of 1909 and 1912. All the foregoing factors constituted the native soil in which the persistent deviation, syndicalism, grew in the United States. But of themselves, they only created the objective possibilities for syndicalism. The actual development of American syndicalism into a system was directly caused by another, a subjective factor, the theoretical weakness of the left wing. This was the historical left sectarian tendency of not struggling against these anti-political forces, but of adapting itself to them and restricting its revolutionary struggle to the economic field. There was no Lenin in America who could, in face of the many factors making against political action, hammer out a revolutionary political policy. Nor was the American left wing even informed regarding Lenin's work. As we have already seen, the left wing's most outstanding leaders over a period of 30 years, De Leon, Debs, Haywood, could do no better than help it lose itself in the syndicalist swamp. Unfortunately, I did my share to help increase the syndicalist confusion. Briefly, the main theoretical errors of the left wing which tended to the development of syndicalism were 1. A great underestimation of the role of the party, especially by De Leon, which led straight to a repudiation of the party altogether by Haywood and other true syndicalists. 2. Exaggeration of the role of labor unions and syndicalist speculations of bringing about the revolution by utopian dual industrial unions. 3. Misconceptions of the role of the state, especially the dictatorship of the proletariat, and also the elaboration of syndicalist notions of conducting the future socialist society through a trade union state. Although the syndicalist tendency persisted long and vigorously in the United States, it has finally shrunk to a very minor factor. This is because the theoretical confusion upon which it was based has been mostly cleared up. The experience of the Russian Revolution and the consequent popularization of Lenin's writings exploded the old-time American syndicalist fallacies by demonstrating in practice the revolutionary role of the party, the subordinate function of the trade unions, the nature of the dictatorship of the proletariat, etc. These basic truths, learned in the daily struggles, in the seizure of power and in the building of socialism in the USSR, were confirmed by the post-war revolutionary upheavals in Germany, Austria, Hungary, China, etc. The genuinely revolutionary forces in the United States were able to learn these lessons. Hence, with the organization of the Communist Party in 1919, which incorporated these fundamental political lessons in its program, American syndicalism suffered a mortal blow. The best revolutionary elements from the Socialist Party, Socialist Labor Party, IWW, Syndicalist League of North America, anarchists, etc., rallied to the Communist Party. The anti-political IWW began to shrivel up. Other factors greatly helped this theoretical clarification to hasten the decline of the IWW, such as its dual unionism, overestimation of spontaneity and underestimation of organization, decentralized form, overemphasis on anti-religious propaganda, tendency to fight more as a propaganda body and fighter for free speech than a labor union, placing of impossible demands and strikes, rigidity of tactics, sectarian refusal to learn from its own mistakes, and its counter-revolutionary attitude towards the Soviet Union, which alienated from it the most revolutionary workers. With the decline of the IWW, the syndicalist tendency generally passed rapidly into decay, and since that period, the objective situation in the United States has also greatly changed. The whole class struggle has become more political, all of which facilitates organized class political action by the working class and checks the syndicalist tendency. 1936. That's the end of Chapter 4. Thank you all for listening to the Workers' Reading Room. Have a good day.